Two. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. You are watching and listening to a very special edition of Sipping Off the Cuff. I'm Mike Morales here in Southern California. That gentleman out there is
Skip Falconer in Los Angeles, California.
Now, Skip and I, first of all, we've been very fortunate. We are going to not dissect we're actually going to revisit this tequila. It's Inspiro Rosa Reposado. Okay.
Yes.
And this is so new. Okay. First of all, we have reviewed this tequila for 2022, our 2022 season. Skip, show the sample that we were sent. The owner of the tequila, Mara Smith, who we've interviewed on Open Bar. You can see her interview here on Tequila Aficionado. If you're listening to us on the podcast, you can catch it on Apple. You can also see it on YouTube. Very interesting young lady. We've gone through her entire story, Inspiro. She's a former lawyer. Skip, I've never heard of anybody bring a brand to market in 20 months. That's
fantastic.
That's the fastest I'd ever heard from conception to like bringing it onto the shelves. Okay. She lives in Illinois. She's in Chicagoland area. You can probably catch this. You can catch the Blanco expression. This one is Rosa Reposado. And Skip, tell everybody, just in case they haven't seen the original review, what makes this tequila so special?
Well, it's rested in a rosé French barrel,
right,
and then finished in Pinot Noir.
Ooh, I love how you say that in French. Pinot Noir. Now, I, you know what? Born and raised in California. I'm not much of a wine drinker. Probably the only thing I can stomach is a California white Zin. I have cousins who drink Chardonnay, so don't ask me about wine. But if you want to know a little bit more about Mara's background, Mara Smith, the owner, proprietor of Inspiro Tequila, this is a woman-owned, woman-driven, and the master distiller. Her signature's on the back. One of our dear friends at Tequila Aficionado is Ana Maria Romero Mena, who is responsible for Corrido. She's responsible for Mi Genta. She's responsible for flavor profiles. I mean, if you've seen the Mi Genta Extra Añejo, amazing stuff. This is her baby as well. All right. So rather than just, we're going to ruminate about this tequila, but I wanted everybody to see how beautiful the tequila looks.
Oh yeah.
In the glass, in this bottle. It just didn't, the sample. We appreciate the sample, Mara. We did, but I begged her, I borrowed, I stole. And finally, she got us a sample in the full bottle. By the way, folks, right now, I don't believe it's available in Southern California. You probably could order it online. But if you're anywhere in Chicagoland, she has been tearing it up. She's been going on podcasts. She's been going on television, on Good Morning Television. I don't even know what stations out there in Chicago. She has just been taking her market by storm, and we couldn't be prouder of her. She's really,
beautiful bottle also.
Well, yeah, of course. I mean, she designed the bottle. They were looking for the caps. Here's what she told us also. I believe she confessed this on our interview with her on Open Bar. But I remember calling her after we tasted this. I called her on the phone, okay? I never do that. And she answered her phone. She's at her son's baseball game, her son's Little League baseball game, and she answers the phone. What a mom, first of all, that, she's working and she's watching her kid's ball game, right? And I told her we fell all over ourselves with this tequila. By the way, I poured mine in my Stasso Jarrito, and Skip has got his handy dandy Glencairn.
That's true.
We love the color. We love, it's got the nice little red highlights in it.
Yes.
I've got better lighting now in my office here, so I think you folks can see how good this looks in both. Yeah, I had to catch up to Skip. Skip's got a ring light now. I've got one. So Skip went all professional on us. Beautiful legs and tears. I mean, as soon as I popped open the cork,
Yeah.
but Skip, it's almost like the agave takes a back seat to the wine notes, to the barrel notes that we were getting. So I talked to Mara. I said, look, Mara, I love the flavor. It's a brand of promise nominee in that category. It's delicious. It's brilliant. And she was so appreciative, because she was so worried about whether people would like it or not, right? Because it was a wild experiment. She says that she sourced the barrels herself. It wasn't like she found a barrel broker or anything like that. She made phone calls. She found somebody in, I don't know, France or Napa. I don't know. I forget offhand where she found them. She purchased the barrels, had them sent to Mexico, and this is the result, folks.
Wow.
This is how so hands-on this lady is. Okay. I can't say enough about her. I mean, she's getting a lot of accolades right now, but she's the real deal, folks. I mean, she's not only sourcing her own wine barrels, but she's watching her son's baseball game. I mean, come on. Everybody deserves to have this in their library. Now, Skip, I know we did the tasting before. Wow.
Yeah.
I poured myself an extra bigger pour than I normally do because I'm actually going to imbibe this. I'm going to enjoy it since this is a revisit. We're not going to break it down too much in detail because that's already been done. Our initial impressions are already submitted for our 2022 Brands of Promise nominees and our ballot, which whenever this review comes out, I believe will be before the end of the year. So it should be very shortly. And we'll reveal the ballot, and then the winners will be revealed toward the end of 2022. So we're going to be letting everybody know ahead of time so that they'll know. But folks,
what a beautiful nose this is, man. Oh,
you see at the bottom of this glass, and again, your vessel makes a big difference, folks. Get yourself a Glencairn, get yourself some Stasso Jarritos from or any other type of specialized agave spirit glass out there. I know there's a couple of them out there. And take some time to nose this and smell it. On the surface, you get a little bit of that wine, but at the bottom, I still got agave.
Lots of agave. I get a lot of agave at the bottom. Yes.
Now, remember when we did the Blanco review? We said, it comes in a very pretty elegant bottle. It's very female centric. Okay. But I said, guys, if this is the tequila your wife wants, go get it for her. And then make sure you get an extra one for you.
For yourself.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
This has got enough character in it. You're going to go, oh, this isn't soft. This is not. I gotta say, I know a lot of this is image and presentation, but folks, this is not a shy tequila. Okay. And Mara, having spoken to her and watched some of her reviews and her interviews on other podcasts on television, she seems very reserved and very demure, but this lady knows her business, and she's getting more and more comfortable in front of the camera. And I'm really, I don't know about you, Skip. I guess I can't say I lurk. I stalk her every time, she has a new video or a new, she's doing a lot of Instagramming now and letting people know a little bit more about her.
Yes.
The more I see of her, the more I really appreciate seeing her blossom in front of the camera, she's really getting better and better at her at communicating her message.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I just love her because she's so personable, man. Um, she sends us this information and then she writes little notes on them, man. And that goes to my heart.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. Not too many brand owners will write you a personal note. And every time that we get one here at Tequila Aficionado, I keep them.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, because it's one thing to get I have a friend of mine in Las Vegas a few years ago, got me an autographed. She got me an autographed picture of Exhibit, because it was a time when Exhibit had his own tequila called Bonita or Bonito. Anyway, she runs a promotional company in Vegas. She's a good friend of mine, and she says, Mike, I got you something, and she sent me this this autographed picture. So it's one thing to get one of those, but it's another thing to get a personal note from Exhibit. You know what I mean? Or any brand owner that says, hey,
Yeah.
thanks for taking the time.
Yeah.
Because stuff like that, the little details and everything she does, the packaging, you don't have the box of the Blanco anywhere nearby, do you?
No.
Okay. I put mine in storage. But some of you folks who have gotten samples of the Blanco know what I'm talking about. It's a beautiful box, and she's putting them together. She's on the floor of her living room, putting all this stuff together with her friends and her family and her supporters. And she's doing a wonderful job, man. This grassroots approach is killing it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, I took my first swig, and I got to tell you, it's heaven.
Oh, you went before me.
Well, you always go before me. I know. For those of you listening on the podcast, you have no idea the look of it's heaven. The look on Skip's face. For those of you listening on iTunes. So yeah, what I will say though, again, when I mentioned this in the Blanco, it is not a soft Blanco. This is a Blanco with character. It's got a nice lingering finish. And you know what else, Skip? This one finishes dry. Did you notice that? I think I forgot to mention it in the original review, and it wasn't until I was going over my notes doing our grading system that I put that in there, and I thought to myself, I forgot to mention that online. Guys, if you like a nice dry finish, like a good bourbon, and then, so I'm going to go back to that story about Mara at the ball game. So I'm talking to Mara, and I said, Mara, this is it's got a dry finish. It's bold. It's not a demure tequila, folks. It's not a soft tequila. And she mentioned something that when she tasted it to some of her friends and supporters before they went on the market, somebody said to her, this is almost as if tequila and bourbon had a baby, or wine and tequila and bourbon had a baby, and this is the result. So for those of you bourbon heads, some of you oak heads, you're really going to enjoy this. And it doesn't finish sweet. It goes in sweet and finishes dry.
Last time I thought it went in a little sweet, but I get the sweet on the back end. No, I don't get it up front. I get a nice is it spice or pepper? There's an explosion right at the center.
Right.
That I get, and it's just, and then you get the warm and fuzzy coming down. It's like, oh, you're going right to my heart.
Well, yeah, because it's even longer. I think the finish is longer in this one than it was with the Blanco.
Yeah, yeah.
Because this one's much longer. I think the barrel has a lot to do with it. The tannins that were left over in the barrels from the wine has a lot to do with it. And I'll agree with you. Now that I've had a second return after a few weeks, almost a couple of months away from ever having had it, and going through blind tastings and all that. It does go in, it goes in even drier than I thought it did at the beginning. So I would say that it evolves in your glass, and probably maybe even from batch to batch. That wouldn't surprise me either, because of the way, once you've had enough tequilas from Ana Maria Romero Mena, again, responsible for Corrido and Mi Gente and a lot of great brands out there, you understand where she comes from and her style of tequila distilling and tequila making and barrel management. Her barrel management, we talk about Felipe Camarena being a mad scientist. She's just as mad. She's just as wild and crazy and precise. And this is
what a nice finish, man.
Yeah.
And it's long.
It's a long finish, folks, and spicy, a little bit of the spiciness, not like a cinnamon spice, but something like maybe just plain old pepper on the way down.
Pepper. Yeah, it's more peppery. Wow. And man, it just coats your mouth nice. Mm-hmm.
On the retronasal, not only am I getting the agave, but I don't know what it is about this batch, this bottle. I am getting way more wine notes, way more grape notes than we did in the smaller one, right?
I was going to say that. Yes.
Now, see, and and that's the other reason why I begged her to get us the full samples, because I know better. I know that in a small sample, flavors, first of all, they could get compromised. When we get minis, they leak. They have been through the desert. They come through here and they don't taste the same, folks. They just won't. And many times we refuse to do a review on those. The only reason we did that with Mara is she asked us to do it that way. And I said, okay, but I reserve the right to do it again in a full bottle. And I was right, wasn't I?
Oh, man. Because I now get the pineapple that they were talking about.
Yeah, we didn't get it in the flavor notes, right? There were certain elements that the flavor notes mentioned that we didn't get.
Yes.
And now it's got a full bloom. It's not as agave forward as maybe it was in the smaller sample. It's much more akin to the wine barrels that it was
in the barrels. Yeah.
Wow, I'm so glad I got a full bottle of this stuff, because it's like
you know what I got last time on this was the white chocolate. I don't get that this time.
Yeah. I don't. There's nothing about chocolate. It's more spice. There's more grape notes on this, more wine notes.
Yes.
I don't even remember the finish being as long, in the smaller sample as it is on this one.
Right. I don't either. I don't either.
Wow. See, we were right. A full bottle is always better than a 20 milliliter. It's just that we, having done enough of these, we've been forced on a few occasions. If you folks have not seen our WAC review, it's OAX Mezcal review, go check it out. They sent us really teeny tiny samples, like perfume samples. And there's no way you can get anything from that. And we didn't. And I'm sure that had we had the full bottles, the whole review would have been different. But that's what they insisted, so we did it. All right.
This is going into the back of the
it's going in Skip's vault, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh,
my goodness.
the combination will not be televised.
Now it's got much more of a nose of a wine.
Yes.
Oh, you know what, folks? If you're one of those people that on Instagram or Instagrammers that received a smaller version of the small bottle that we did, because that was all that was there. Honestly, folks, she had no bottles. She had not enough samples to go around. It was so new. We wanted to get it out there for her because we fell in love with the Blanco. We said, you know what? We'll just keep showing the Blanco bottle. But again, go watch that review, because I begged her on camera. I said, I'm going on record. I want a full bottle. And we were right.
Can I beg for the añejo if one comes?
She says, from what she told us, from what I've seen on her interviews, no añejo in the works. But if I know Ana Maria, the two of them, I guess it depends on, how well the brand is received, and,
oh my God. If they don't go get this, man, they don't need to go get any other Reposado in the world.
Yeah, well, even on añejo, and again, for bourbon lovers,
yeah,
this has got the same kind of spicy hot finish that you want.
Oh, very, very, very nice.
And it's dry, nice long finish. Guys, I'm going to say it again. I know it looks like a gal's tequila. Oh, it's a girly tequila. It's probably full of additives. No, it's not. No additives, no nothing. It's just tequila and barrels, and really good tequila to start with. And then when you get this, when your girlfriend, your wife, your significant other, or whoever wants this, get yourself another bottle for you. Because
you're going to take both bottles.
Yeah.
You're going to snatch both bottles away.
This is, I'm telling you, you are not going to be sorry. There's so much character. I'm so glad that we got this now, because now that it's opened up and I poured an extra long pour, the legs and tiers are even thicker. Look at the legs and tiers on this thing.
Wow. Yeah.
I don't know if you can see that on my camera, but everything is.
I drank all mine. Like I said,
but
I'm putting it away.
I'm telling you, and
I got tears on here for days.
Wow, I'm telling you, folks, go get. Do we have a price point on this? I don't know. I
$78.99.
How much?
$78.99.
Worth every penny. Worth every penny. Where did you find that? At Old Town? Or just online at Drizzly?
Just online.
Okay.
Yeah, because it does. We don't have much information, because I don't know how long it's been rested in these rosé barrels and then finished in the Pinot Noir.
Well, it's a Reposado, so technically,
it's got to be under a year.
Yeah, got to be under a year. It's polished or finished in a Pinot Noir barrel, so it's a double barrel.
Double barrel.
We had to give it its own category because of the style of. Again, Ana Maria's style is like this, and she's been doing some crazy stuff with barreling. She's an evil genius with her barrel management. I don't know what else to say. Skip, is that this is a gorgeous tequila. Go ahead. I know.
Yes. No, I just want to say that they shouldn't stop there. They should just keep going and make an añejo.
So if we have our druthers, we'll go on record. Skip wants an añejo. I really would like to see one. We have only had one wine barrel aged añejo in 2022 that I've ever had. That was Juan de Leon in 2021, actually, I believe, and it was stellar.
It's good.
It's good. So if that's possible, and obviously when the brand gains traction and it starts to expand in other states, and Mara and her team and her wisdom decide that maybe it's time for us to put some of this aside and talk to Ana Maria and go, what do you think of coming up with an añejo? I want to be on that short list, Mara. Okay. But yeah, and Skip. Anyway, folks, that's our revisit. We revisited Inspiro Rosa Reposado. If you've not had it, or if you've seen the first review, or go back and check it out, get yourself a bottle. And then if you're watching this on YouTube, leave us a comment down below, hit the notification bell, give us a like, because that does help us with the algorithm. It helps the channel. It helps to put it out in the YouTube universe. Okay. But tell us what you think. And honestly, Skip, I know you're a cocktail guy. Would you do anything with a cocktail on this thing?
No.
Yeah. It's like having a cocktail in a bottle. You don't need it. It's got, and if you have wine friends who come from the wine industry or the wine background, and you want to get them into tequila, you want to show them what's possible with tequila, this is your jam right here. Okay. Inspiro Rosa Reposado. Remember the name, remember the brand owner, Mara Smith. Go look her up on Instagram. I think she has a Inspire to Be, I believe is another Instagram account that she has. Follow her, check her out. She's very transparent. She does a lot on Instagram, getting really better at it. Does a lot of things on podcasts as well. And support women-owned businesses. Just
Yes.
Tequila Aficionado is a woman-owned business. A lot of folks think it's just me. It's not. We got an army of 13 people, and this company is co-owned by a single mom, Air Force veteran, and she puts out our magazine as well. So this, I'm telling you, this is right up our alley. Okay, we were the first ones to come out with women in the tequila industry. Read our book, From Babes to Boss Ladies. We started it. It's now that train has left that station. We're not going to stop it, and you're going to get stuff like this from now on. Thank God. Okay, because
do we want to mention that it's from 1614, Gnome 1614?
Yes, yeah. We wanted to give you the number of the distillery. It is known as a wonderful kitchen for master distillers because they prefer that distillery. It's Gnome 1614.
1614.
Oh, by the way, just for those of you who give a darn, I don't know if you can read that. Probably can't read it. There's a little seal that says additive free. Okay, so if you're worried about that, nothing weird, nothing artificial, nothing that's going to make you sick. Although the additives aren't supposed to make you sick either. But regardless of that, let's see. It doesn't give me the name of the distillery, but that's okay. You just remember the gnome number of 1614. It's known for being a preferred kitchen of many master distillers. Wow, good catch. So anyway, that's our take. That's our revisit of Inspiro Rosa Reposado. Again, our thanks to Mara Smith for letting us have it. Mara, congratulations. Continued good fortune to you, the team. Guys, ladies, anybody watching this, go get yourself a bottle of the Blanco so you know the root, the base of what this is all about, and then get yourself the Rosa Reposado. You're done.
The Blanco is lunar rested.
Yes, lunar rested. It is softened and rested in a barrel for just a certain amount of time, and it's pulled out just before it has to be called reposado. Okay, that it technically in the business we call that a Blanco Suave. That is also a legitimate category for us. And the first people that ever did that was Herradura. The Herradura was the first one to actually put it on their labels, the old label before Brown-Forman bought them. It says Blanco Suave. Okay, so that technique is a legitimate technique that's been around since the 70s. Okay, so that being said, thank you again, folks, for watching and listening to us on all of our channels and networks. I'm Mike Morales here in Southern California. That guy out there is
Skip Falconer in Los Angeles, California.
You folks have been listening and watching to Sipping Off the Cuff on Tequila Aficionado Media on all of our channels and networks. Please follow us. Follow Skip on his brand new Instagram as well. And whatever you folks do, tomar sabiamente.
Sip wisely.
There we go. I'm looking for that. There's the off button.
This is really, really, really different.